Welcome back for part 2 of the rant, and we'll have a special guest hopefully next week, so leave it in abeyance for this week. What's news, Glenn? We've got Kensington on Wednesday, and of course Gosford. We seem to have 3 provincial meetings every week these days, and Gosford.
Tuesday Gosford, isn't it? Yeah. Tuesday's Gosford.
Yeah.
What's news? I don't know. What is news? When are we going back?
I don't know. As I say, I was at Rose Hill on Saturday, and it was, all those 60 to 70-year-old members, Glenn, that you would recognise because you've seen them.
Yeah, of course.
And they're all in their their suits, and they all turned up. They were there. Yeah. They were there doing what they do on a Saturday, which is getting there, grabbing a table, sitting there, and betting on the tab.
But they're trying to get out of the house as well. They fucking hate their missus. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
How's there not more fucking women killed at that age?
It is a bit of a surprise. Look, I must say I like being at the races because I'm at least where it's happening, and sitting at home, it's too easy to get pulled away. For me, anyway. But
well, you got the tillage there too. I haven't minded being at home too much. I do think I'll be 10% better on course with the Mounting Yard Mail, but I miss the interaction with the bookies. I mean, I'm keen to get back. Absolutely. So, like, I've had to set it in my head that it was going to be quite a while. I'll be told if we're not back by August 1.
Well, speaking of bookies, I picked up a comment from Rob, who's a good man in the chat room, and he says, it's just a comment really. He says, I feel like Dave Dwyer is blessed when it comes to me winning off him. Was really keen on the favourite in the first at Townsville. Decided to load up and get deposit bonus also. Bet not accepted as my max bet is set to $100 FML. What does FML mean, Gord? Fuck me.
Does that mean he set it at $100?
I think he might have, yeah. He's FML. I don't know what FML means. Anyway, FML. He says in brackets, didn't think to do multiple $100 bets. Off the sports bet, get on, but I've had to load up that account. To do so as well. Back to Dave. I like Rose as a red in the first at Northern. About to jump, hit place bet instead of win. Horse obviously wins at $10, and I get $1.90 the place. Obviously not my day. What? No more bets for me.
It means fuck my life.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think he set the max bet at $100 though, not Dave.
Yeah. Just saying that he's about to back a winner with Dave, and he instead ends up at sports bet, so Dave gets spared, and then he's about to back
I always just thought FML meant me, like fucking miserable luck.
Oh, come on.
Same sort of thing.
Life of a multi-millionaire.
Fuck off, course.
All right, a few emails that we didn't get to last week because of my technical issues, and the first one we read out but didn't get an answer for. This was from Shane from New Zealand, who's been with us forever. He says, hi guys, on Saturday we had the resumption of racing here in New Zealand. That's 2 Saturdays ago after 4 months due to some virus or something. This has meant no training of horses until 4 weeks ago and only 2 trial meetings leading into the resumption. I didn't bet at the meeting, but just wanted to ask your opinions on how to handle a few things going forward. When doing a review of the meeting, what key things would you be looking for? Watching the tapes, I noticed a lot of horses absolutely gone from the 300, and then with 50 to go, they're running through the line 10 lengths last. Thoughts? Love your work, guys. Keep fighting the good fight. Cheers.
Yeah, it's a really interesting period, Shane. Thanks so much for the email. Nice to hear from you. I think we're all learning a bit anyway. Like, we've never been through a period like where racing closed down for 4 months. World War II was the last time.
Yeah.
I suppose doing the reviews, I'd be looking for I'd be very forgiving on horses that have had some sort of wide gut buster that seem to knock up. If they knock up 16 lengths, I'd just be going, well, I'm going to be more forgiving than something that got beaten 16 lengths. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but what about the idea they haven't been in training for very long, so their ground is probably their groundwork's probably not very good.
Yeah, I think they're in times if it's at least 2 or 3 months New Zealand racing with that type of lamb times to the lead-ups. Maybe also be looking for horses a little bit outside the market too. Hard to get into a favourite, isn't it? just because you think it's the best horse.
Well, I don't know. There are a lot of ponderables there. It's not like Hong Kong, Gord, is it? Where, despite the fact that they're off for 6 weeks or 2 months or whatever it is, they'd pretty much been training the whole time. And
they're training their trial. And I haven't thought about it because
answer a pineapple. What do you say?
There's never been another situation like it. So the only thing I would sort of suggest is I'd assume those horses would have travelled out to their
farms,
farms or whatever. So if you notice stables that return well fresh off their wherever they spell, I'd be looking for those stables.
Good point.
So for example, in Sydney, I'd be looking for blue colours if the same thing happens.
It's how many years is it since James took over from D. Beedman, who took over from O'Shea?
Well, please say one.
It's at least 3, isn't it?
Why?
Oh, because it was at this time of the year that James Cummings started.
Oh, okay.
And then he went through the fallow patch, I think exactly 12 months afterwards.
Hey, if it was Sydney, I might even be having a good go at Clary Connors horses as well. So.
There you go. Have you seen one lately? They're few and far between.
Yeah, well.
Hi, Mark, Glenn and Gord. One for the rant this week. I think this is my first email contribution to the rant in all the time I've subscribed, so I hope it's received well. Just a quick this is young Daniel. Just a quick comment that ever since speed maps have been published by Racing New South Wales, in my opinion, it has affected the overall quality of jockey performance. Not sure if it helps my argument, but I'll use an example that's relevant to me. A fortnight back, now 3 weeks back, Kerrin on Lashes gets lost when he doesn't get the 1-1 and chooses to stay 3 wide, no cover with the horse over racing because he expects Blazing Mist to cross, as per his words in the steward's report. I can only assume that he had this thought because this is what was listed on the official speed map. I know he's been trending negatively lately, but it's a clear example of these jockeys not being able to problem solve and adapt to something that goes differently to what is written in the map. I'm not using it as an excuse. The horse didn't show anything when asked either, but I was still very critical of the ride. It's not just evident that it's an example. Sorry, it's not just an example that's close to me, but also clearly evident in a race such as the Highway on Saturday. That's Randwick, with everyone else having no clue what to do when Berry did what he did on Partners. They ended up just letting him steal the race. The jockey's inability to adapt is one that's probably relevant in society as a whole at the moment, being that people do not question what is presented to them as fact. Hence, they have no ability to problem solve and react to issues the rest of society face. It should be no surprise that Berry bags 4 winners on a day when he decides to ride outside of the norm. It's the job of us punters to question all we encounter in the great game, that is times, track bias, track ratings. Conversely, these jockeys ride to a map, have no clue what to do when it doesn't turn out as they originally thought, and then get angry at us for calling them out on shit rides by calling them brain dead. Anyway, I shouldn't be complaining. It's a positive if we can identify jockeys who aren't proactive, because it has the potential to make money in the future. Speaking of questioning everything in front of me, I was reading the Sunday Telly a few weeks ago. Don't be angry with me, Gord. I just view these News Limited publications to see how the other side works and for a general laugh on a Sunday morning. Unsurprisingly, there was a full 2-page spread from Ray Thomas on the 1st of June asserting that Mark Van Gestel rules with an iron fist in all areas of racing, and we would never see doping in racing under Mr. Van Gestel like that seen by Bronson's Kerry of the Cronulla Sharks in the NRL. Mr. Thomas also noticed it was a win for racing that Racing New South Wales now had the arbitrary power over all members of the racing community as passed in legislation last year. This is definitely not the Racing New South Wales propaganda machine at work. Surely it was just a coincidence considering the prominent cases about to come before Mr. Van Gestel at the moment. However, in my opinion, the best part of the article is that the main photo used was a picture of Mr. Van Gestel walking the Rosehill track with the one and only Glyn Schofield. It's the absolute best. If I was a common layperson, I'd say that a jockey such as Glyn should not be included in such an article. He definitely rides all his mounts to the best of his ability, and any suggestion otherwise that Mr. Van Gestel needs to crack down on a jockey like Glyn is an implication made by Mr. Thomas and News Limited that would be bringing the game into disrepute. We all know Glyn has been questioned by the stewards in the past, but he wants to escape issues of the past like James McDonald in his current complaint against Racing RANT. Any implication made that Glyn is an example of Mr. Van Gestel exercising his power against crook jockeys is defamatory against him, as per Racing New South Wales's interpretation of the rules of racing. Thanks for letting me share my thoughts. There is definitely no sarcasm involved here, and I would be very happy for Mr. Van Gestel and his trusty offsider Wade Birch to read my comments back to me word for word, because the underlying tone of a comment doesn't matter, only what's written on paper, right? Cheers, and hope all is well with everyone.
Well, good on you, Daniel. Well, yeah. Ray, hard to read, Ray.
What do you mean? We know exactly what happened. So, I mean, King Calendar lost his gig with the Telegraph because he was rocking the boat too much, and he's hardly a big boat rocker. The publication gets a yearly fixed amount, doesn't it, to only write good stories?
Millions of dollars. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's classic propaganda. Unfortunately, the hard copy, the papers at the moment, and has been for.
By the way, like those new bloody powers that they got last year are ridiculous.
Well, unfortunately, we bumped into this. They're a private club, but they seem to forget that the powers that are invested in them are granted by statutory instruments. So I think that I'd have to agree with you, Gord. The powers are ridiculous. Glenn, what about the riders riding to the map? I think we've complained about this a fair bit.
Oh, I think it's a blight on our racing. You look at Hong Kong; they don't ride to their map; they just get out and go.
Well, we did cover that last week, saying that those sorts of things like tactics changes got rid of in Hong Kong.
Yeah. And punters don't want them. I don't know why they continue with them. I think they want everything to look so squeaky clean and everything's above board and everyone's happy. And I don't think it's for the betterment of the game, because everything is basically above board. Just they want too much, they want the ball in the football game never to go out, go close to the touchline, and just play. When you bet with the tablets, just play and
fair enough.
What about let's just fucking bet?
As far as an advantage with the maps coming out, which is what he was looking for as well. That's why it's a very important jockey with high confidence in form. It's just a part of life that you're far more willing to make an independent decision if you're going well at the time.
That's right. If you're full of yourself, really.
Yeah. So I'd suggest like Tommy Berry is on cloud 9 at the moment, which means when he jumps out, he's confident and willing to make a very quick decision about where he wants to be and run and what he wants his horse to do, and therefore can ignore the other noise in the background. Confidence is key. So I'd suggest you could take that angle.
Well, it's okay.
What about the angle also good that with the tab ads and everything we're seeing now that there's just this push for political correctness for gambling to be recreation.
Oh, I know. Yeah. They say it all the time, don't they?
Makes me sick.
Yeah.
Never felt recreated punting.
Well, I think we've mentioned heaps of times that if you want to increase turnover and get more people involved, you've got to be writing the stories about the people that are professionally making money on it. I mean, and yet again, as the example we use all the time, is when that massive poker boom was on. Who were the people they were promoting?
Big pros.
The big pros. That's where. And what happened? The sport went absolutely massive.
Well, and has continued to do so.
Yeah. So like. Shit, you've got a perfect example.
Most pubs have 2 or 3 poker nights a week now, and they have one of those stupid games where you got to guess the answers. Whether that's what are they mystery trivia shit. Imagine just sitting down to that.
I actually quite like it.
Really?
Yeah, but okay. So the poker boom happened because suddenly we were able to watch pros in action. Isn't that why?
Yeah.
Isn't that why it happened?
Yep. And no, but then the marketing department's marked.
Yeah.
So I'd say some of those pros they were marketing weren't even actually that good of pros, but the marketing of these are the guys, like, they go like career earnings $20 million. Well, the guy's buy-ins might have been 21, but you got to advertise like you can get the golden goose by practicing and being like these people, something to aspire to. You can do it too. Which is true.
Then they had the ultimate fill-up, which was Chris Moneymaker just coming along, winning the wild card.
The
and
amateur,
the World Series.
yeah. But by the way, a lot of amateurs will win the World Series because when you're looking at that many people being involved,
all the pros go in it and basically go, well, I'm a the amateurs are 10,000 to 1 chance, but I'm 8,000 to 1 myself.
Yeah.
Craig writes, hi guys, did you know that the Victorian tab also has the odds and evens? Which I didn't know. Does this money go towards the big Sydney races? Surely not. Well, there's not much money to go towards the big Sydney races, but anyway. On the Alice Springs races on Saturday.
That's funny, Mark, because it's like, like the Mexicans, they're jumping around and running around like Speedy Gonzalez every time PVL brings something in. Yeah. So he brings in something shit like odds and evens, and they're still jumping on the bandwagon. Oh,
well, it is the same company.
He has everyone in the spell, doesn't he, PVL?
He does.
Yeah. But you got to say, you got to doff your cap to him. Like, honestly, that much ability for that much success is incredible.
And it's funny, like no mention of when an absolute disaster of a promotion and new product is so negative.
He came out for 2 months calling the rugby league, and no one even pulled him up on it. And he looked like retarded every time he said it.
I know, but the rugby league probably pays the Daily Telly shitloads as well. I mean, he's just
the absolute best I've ever come across.
His playbook has come straight out of the Third Reich, hasn't it?
Freak. He's a freak.
Anyway.
Is he going to be having rallies soon? Rallies.
He'll do better than Donald. Donald got thumped by the Wiggles. On the Alice Springs races on Saturday, all 6 races had a split dividend. The dividends were race 1, no dividend. Race 2, no dividend. Race 3, $1.20. Races 4 and 5, no dividend. Race 6, $1.30.
Oh, wow. How hilarious.
Willow writes,
I'd go as far as to say you could fly PVL now to America and he could run and would win.
Yeah. Teflon.
Just the best ever.
Yeah.
Just
But I mean,
come out with some idea.
I'm sure he believes in himself, Gordon. That's a big part of it.
Well, I mean, I know it's not exactly the same, but Napoleon famously quoted, "Give me a lucky general over a talented one any day of the week." And with a little bit of success gives you confidence. And well, I don't know if you read about some of the great generals or military leaders of time, like Alexander the Great and Napoleon, et cetera, absolute faith in their ability, and that giving them also the ability to act quickly. Without doubt.
Yeah, because you're making the right decision.
Well, and sometimes it wasn't the right decision, but ended up being successful anyway because of the confidence in instant action.
Well, that can be translated to punting as well, Don't let me grey you up. Willow writes, "G'day boys, just a quick reply to the email you had last week regarding the chat room. I've watched all the shows, including the Punters Show, very early days, and I'm so happy I can watch the shows without sunglasses on now the sun isn't beaming off Dallas's head."
Oh, a bit of a stick to Dell, eh?
Oh, well, I've been in the chat room for a few months now, and as a rookie punter, never took it seriously until 6 months ago. I wanted to improve my knowledge with betting and doing form, and the chat room is the hottest ticket in town. It's easy to work out who the smart judges are in there. I've learned so much from just absorbing information from everyone and using it to make me a smarter punter. Even rookies like me can post a tip, and if it salutes, it's a thrill to have pro punters get around you and congratulate you and share the win. And if the tip is a dud, you don't get run out of town, unlike other social media platforms. The banter is also first class. It's a credit to all involved. I must be doing something right, as I got my first betting account restrictions over the weekend, and God, it felt good.
I love that. It's disappointing, but it.
It's testament, isn't it? Yeah, thanks, Willow. Good on you, Willow. Craig also sent some information last week about the fact that the tab co-mingled with Ascot in the UK, so they had toad-only betting on Ascot. And the Quinella trifecta and duet pools were all around $1 million in each race because they'd commingled with Hong Kong and Australia, and which seems. He mentions that Harry Findlay was talking about it in Matt's recent show with him.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
So yes, the article reads, Royal Ascot's World Tote Pool, which involved 20 nations, including Australia, Hong Kong and the US, was an immense success. Generated turnover of $247 million across 36 races. Trade was up 49% on 2019, despite the absence of on-course operations. The tote's win price beat the British industry starting price in 19 races out of the 36. Well, you'd like to see some tote mingling on Australian races, wouldn't you? I mean, especially given that a local tote has decided that, to shepherd everyone across to their more profitable fixed odds product.
Well, everybody wants to maintain control and their own power, and they don't realise that they're cutting off their nose to spite their face in these circumstances.
I was in play during the week last week, and I don't know when it's ever going to come to a head what betting syndicate's involved. And I know which one it is, but I won't say. And last week, there's something to trade with one of the top drivers, Grant Dixon. He's a champion driver up at Queensland on the trotters. Him and Chris Alford, they just try, and Ryan Rahori, they try on every favourite they're on. I've never seen anything like it. Gee, they can drive a lot of winners, blah, blah, blah. But it was trading at $1.42 on the fair and the $1.45, $1.42, $1.45, $1.40, just solid as a rock, solid rock. They go out of the gate, they go 100 metres and it breaks into a gallop. Anyway, I remember, wow, because they're just a driver I don't lay because, whatever, haven't laid, blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, after the race, number one, what it was, it paid $3. And I thought, gee, that seems a tight dividend. So I went back to the pools on the tab, and there's Grant Dixon's mount, which had broken in the run at the $1.45. And there it is on the tote, paying after the race $2.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah, paying $2. So it was just like the greatest fingerprint to you syndicates out there who've got your bets to get your kickbacks, to work out that you get to cancel bets after they've jumped. It suits you, and that's how you make the most of your profit, by stealing off the public. And
that's cheating.
One day there'll be an inquiry into it. Not what they usually do is when they do this, you might shave the price from $1.60 out to $1.80. But when the hard thing on the fair trades at $1.40 gallops, and then after the race is paying $2, the bets on that horse have been cancelled. So, well, doff me cap to the tab. Well done there. Good for who's ever involved. I mean, I know who it is, and no wonder you have homes all over the world and fly around in planes. You're all a pack of fuckwits. But best of luck to you.
It's just such poor behaviour.
It's great.
Well, they get away with it, and they get away with it legally. And you watch, even if you went searching the bets, what bets were cancelled, they'd have algorithms and hidden ways. But the give up is you can't trade $1.40 with the best of everybody and then pay $2 after the race after you've galloped. It just can't happen. And the 7-to-1 chance can't pay $3.
Wow.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I don't mind them using their economic power to negotiate rebates. Better deals. But that's cheating, what they're doing there.
They do it every single race in every state around the clock. That's why they employ 100 people over there in the offices. Got to pay their wages by robbing the punters out there who have backed the winner and were going to get $6.60 and got $3. Just like that. It was, boys, unfortunately, there you left a little bit of a fingerprint. I know it goes on. I can't prove it.
Yeah. So what would you say? Normally, the cut in the pool is not as obvious.
What's that?
I presume that their portion of the pool in that case was a little larger than. Well, it's a trot race for starters. So
yeah, I'd say they'd have algorithms to work out how much to bet into every pool. 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but
it's a $4,000. Hey, who knows? I don't know how they do it. But all I know is the horse can't gallop and pay $2.
Yeah. All right. So we had some talk about Good Bone last week, and Rob writes, "Hi guys, Good Bone used to piss me off also. It never came with an explanation. Industry lingo, so cringe. I sell wine. Very few of my clients want to hear me use the industry lingo to describe a wine. After hearing this Good Bone line over and over again, I just deduced Good Bone equals a strong type or a heavier/taller than average horse. I'm pretty sure that's right. Maybe one day Liz or Richard Haynes will explain the bone." Which leads me into Dave, who of course replied. He says, "You asked what good boned meant. It's hard to describe without an actual horse to show. I'm not an expert. I just learned some things punting and attending sales with Fred, but it is real and it's a confirmation thing. You want strong bones that are correct. That is, short cannons, long forearms, short pasterns that are 45 degrees, not back at the knees, etc. Basically, if a horse is strong-boned, it can handle the work better. It can handle weight better than a fine-boned horse. They're less likely to go sore or break down. If they're not sore, they tend to eat better, and the more they eat, the harder you can work them. If a horse is sore, it stops eating. If it stops eating, you have to stop working it as hard as you'd like. In short, they handle being a racehorse a lot better. It's not a size thing. It's not like the bigger the horse, the stronger the bones. A smaller horse can be good boned and tall horses can be fine boned. That is probably as clear as mud, but hope it helps. I understand why Glenn doesn't know that much about horses in a technical sense. He's completely self-taught from his own observation of what's important to him in backing winners. It is amazing that he can do what he can do without any formal teaching, like learning to read and write just by watching others read and write without being able to ask any questions. His powers of observation must be extraordinary. He probably does know what good boned is. He just doesn't know what you call it. It's probably something he looks for. I've heard him say some horses look like they need their mother. To me, that sounds a little like the look weak, probably fine-boned. He's looking for horses that look big, strong, and well-muscled, and they are the good-boned horses. Dave.
It's a good point. You're probably right. I probably do know it, but I always just thought good bones. I mean, how can you look under its skin as if they've got good bones? It's brought on a little bit of debate and certainly a lot of interest.
I think Dave's onto a point there. I'd say you are finding it,
and don't realise
you're just not calling it that.
Yeah, and I certainly don't say they're full. That means I say they're clippy cloppy.
Clippy cloppy.
I don't like him doing that, Gordon.
Very scientific
hey,
word,
isn't that the way that the Knights of Knee used to get around? Monty Python quote again,
with the coconuts. You don't have a horse. You just got two coconuts you're banging together. Hi, team. So the RANT faced charges for something with tongue firmly in cheek, for suggesting with tongue firmly in cheek that J-Mac was betting again. In the same light-hearted discussion, the suggestion was that he was trying so hard to win, not to lose, and that he was a terrific jockey. The stewards have now charged J-Mac with not trying his hardest to win, in layman's terms. Which party has had a bigger crack at J-Mac's integrity and in turn damaged racing's profile? Surely this now shows the charges against the RANT are a complete joke and a waste of time. Throw the case out and move on. For the record, I was on 3 Ood and didn't think he did that much wrong. The horse seemed uncomfortable early and got into a poor position. Yes, he could have been more urgent in getting to the outside in the straight, but he missed the boat by then and could not win anyway. Where is Mark Guest in all of this? Can we get a comment out of him? All he has done is make himself and J-Mac look like sooks and give-ups. Well done, you flea. Cheers, John.
I really like that email. It's a clever email, that.
But it just yet again, like it just shows you that there's no grudges hold. We'll judge everything on what we see. And the fact of the matter is, I can't believe he got 3 weeks for 3 Ood. Like, I totally understandable what
he'll definitely get off.
Well, and you know what? If we were like bitter, sort of like holding grudges people, we would have got stuck into him on the show and said, "Oh, throw the book at him. Look, he didn't ride that out." But we're not as shallow, narrow, and sensitive as a lot of these other fuckers in our industry.
Well, our Hong Kong correspondent did say that he would get an instant month suspension for that ride, but I don't think he's actually pointing to it being a running and handling sort of ride. Just the fact that he failed to give the impression that he was giving the horse every chance, as in, yes, he gave up on the horse. Basically, the horse was not travelling, and he went, "I'm God here," and then.
Yeah, but it's different. Like Hong Kong races, they just want to see him look like they're getting the shit ridden out of them all the time. And in Australian racing, when they're not going that well, they really don't want them to be ridden out because they think it looks bad to the greenies and the Peter people. And
also, you don't necessarily want to cut in half a beaten horse, do you? I mean, you want to go soft on it for next time, like just.
Well, yeah, but I think that that's the difference in the way the stewards should handle it. They're coming from different perspectives there. Hong Kong cares about the punters, and Australian racing cares about the image to the general public.
That's true. They're very big on image.
We go to Dave Diamond's
email on that. Dave Diamond. My opinion on the James McDonald Stewards inquiry. Charges laid. McDonald has been charged under Australian Rule Racing 129, running and handling, subsection 2, A rider must take all reasonable and permissible measures throughout the race to ensure that the rider's horse is given full opportunity to win or obtain the best possible place in the field. The particulars of the charge are that between approximately the 300 and the 100, he rode his mount with insufficient purpose and vigour and failed to shift 3U to the outside of Voila and Miss Steed to secure clear running. After shifting 3U to the outside of Voila near the 100 metre mark to obtain clear running, he rode 3U with insufficient purpose and vigour over the final 100. In my time in racing, this is the lightest sentence I have seen for this particular charge. Running and handling charges surely would be a minimum of 6 months. Even though, in my opinion, a reprimand would have been sufficient if you were found guilty. A reprimand would have been sufficient. If you are found guilty, why are you only given 3 weeks for a running and handling charge? Has this created a precedent? Gord was 100% correct with his opinion of stewards, and this proves it. Good punting. Glenster, we should do lunches. Tell the others to piss off. Dave Diamond.
I agree with that, Dave Diamond. But I think it's exactly right. Exactly right there. They're saying, like, you know, we found you guilty of this, but because we're not 100% sure, we're just going to give you a little pinch of 3 weeks. So therefore, at appeal, don't you say, look, how didn't he should have got 3 months or 6 months. You can't give him 3 weeks.
It seems odd, doesn't it? The only thing missing is the fact that we're in COVID and he can't go to Bali for 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, they usually like the 3 weeks off, don't they, this time of year?
Yeah, but quite, you can go up to bloody the Whit Sundays, Mark.
Have you been to the Whit Sundays lately, Gord?
No, you can't. You can't get into Queensland.
No coral left.
You can't get into Queensland, Gord.
Can't you still? I thought they opened
the announcement tomorrow about Queensland.
That's right. Well, any forms from now on the rights nationality, I write New South Wales. I don't write Australia anymore.
Well, I mean, if you don't have free access to the whole country, then I suppose it's
I'm a New South Welshman. I can go everywhere in New South Wales. I can't get into Queensland, and parts of Northern Territory I'll never be allowed to visit because I won't say.
But back on the J Mac thing, so he's been casual on a beaten horse. That's basically what's happened, isn't it?
That's what's happened.
Yeah, but as far as I'm concerned, with excuses for why he did that.
Yeah, he's got an excuse for being casual. I understand that, but isn't that basically what he's done? He's just
it is probably a $60,000 fine though, like for 3 weeks off. He earns $20,000 a week when you think. Oh, maybe he doesn't over the quiet period. It's cost him $30,000, so I guess he was down $3,000. There's some joy in it.
Well, then you'd be pushing for 6 months. What are you talking about?
It's just like.
Oh dear.
Mark Guest, like honestly, fucking hell. Great, good bloke.
Well, there you go. Glenn, you've
he's a good bloke, Guesty. You're a good bloke.
You've turned the corner there. I'll just read out my response to Rob Rigg, which is, hi Mark, in relation to your assessments, I'm totally okay with the assessed price, confused by the expected price column in your guide. Clearly, the expected price differs substantially from the actual market or price, and it seems unlikely that the actual market will move to the expected market's price. So what does the expected market represent? Also, if the actual price on the day moves dramatically under the expected price, does that indicate market intelligence, or is it just a function of the expected price being out of line? I like the whole concept, but I need to better understand where the expected price is derived from, given that the guide is published well after the real market is known. Thanks in advance. And I replied, because I started putting out expected markets before the corporates were publishing offering early odds. I said, hi Rob, the expected market predated early corporate prices and is mostly fashioned without reference to available odds. I say mostly because when I'm adjusting a market after scratchings, I've clearly observed the odds on offer. The function of the expected market is to give an insight into my thinking when constructing my excess prices. If expected is much shorter, I clearly think I've not found the horse, as in I don't like, and vice versa. So were you to see assessed $5, expected $8, yet the actual price is $3, you could conclude that I genuinely thought I'd found the horse and didn't dislike it, as opposed to assessed $5, expected $3.50, actual $3, in which case you could say, yes, you didn't like the horse. Hope that helps. And finally,
that's a point as far as opinion is concerned. But what people have to take into realisation is Mark has his opinions about the way he determines the true odds of a horse winning the event are, and that's his assessed price. And then he has 40 years experience in what prices horses actually start at.
Yep.
And so obviously you need to disagree with the market in some way, shape or form. And I'd suggest, even though the prices are out when Mark's sheets come out, that's before all the smart money that has become involved in the pools. And Mark's got 40 years of experience knowing what the smart people are going to back. That's why I find the assessed prices, expected prices, so valuable.
Yes, they are.
They can anticipate what the syndicates are going to do, which is vital information. And you notice Glenn doesn't actually write it down, but has an awesome feel on the Friday show for horses at firm. It's
a little wrong on Friday though, good. I got to say that.
They still started shorter than the price we took.
Not really. Yeah. I thought it'd start single figures.
Yeah, well, he wasn't very.
Yeah, you're going to be wrong sometime.
Yeah.
I think he was casual on It's a Lily as well. He didn't really put it in the race, did he?
No.
What race was that? Was race 3 or 4? Because I'm thinking we might have actually been thinking Inside was good by that stage.
Well, race 4
was out of barrier 16 and mapped in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Well, he actually mapped in the OK spot. He could have gone right up the inside and he just moseyed out wide. Anyway.
Was out of barrier 16?
Yeah, but he said it last.
Yeah. Anyway, good. Just to sum up, there are 2 strings to the bow there. There's the insight into what I'm thinking when regard my assessed price, and there is the fact that I do have a lot of experience in observing how markets work, and that's my 100%. I'm actually sitting at 100%. I'm not giving myself 120% to be right about the market and where it's going to settle.
Hardest thing in the world to price horses 100% and be right all the time, Mark. I promise you.
Even if you're betting off a bot, you allow a margin of error.
Mm. Anyway, it's been a good show, guys. Sorry I'm a bit flat today.
Yeah, this
COVID.
is one.
A bit COVID-19.
One piece of homework. I noticed that good old Peter Prophet, who's punching out a couple of articles every day. He's very busy, Archie Butterfly. He's taken exception to a ride at Casino, race 2 at Casino last Thursday, the 25th of June. So perhaps our homework could be to have a look at the ride of Kirk Matheson in race 2.
What price was that horse, Mark?
I don't know. Sacred Thoughts, it was called. And the rider is Kirk Matheson. So Keen Beans could perhaps review that race and put forward their thoughts, because good old Archie, he's written columns and columns about the ride. Obviously, he's unhappy with it.
Yeah, also I did a show with Owen last week. I think Matt has posted some of it. Or
yesterday morning it came up. Yeah,
okay. Half of it or all of it? Because we were talking for about an hour and a half. So
the first half, he's delayed.
When are we going to employ this Archie Butterfly on the rant?
He's a funny man. What?
Got to get him as a panel member this time.
Jesus, how many court cases do you want to be involved in?
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting about that.
You're in enough already.
Yeah.
You two are gluttons for punishment.
Well,
and by the way, gigantic announcement, guys. Who is making their first ever appearance on Racing Rant?
Tomorrow evening.
Who?
Dodd.
No way.
I've finally got Dodd on. Oh. And supposedly, just for you, Glenn, his wife is just going to do a walk by in the background as well.
I actually like her. She's all right.
Sarah. Yeah.
She said he's punching there.
Yeah, I know.
She like old blokes about close to 60 with no money and small dicks, maybe.
So anyway, looking forward to that.
Oh, that's a great announcement. We look forward to that tomorrow evening, and that will be a gala. All right. Other than that, I think we can close off and bunker down. Is that right?
Yep. I'll talk to you. I won't miss you guys at all today. See you later.
Yeah. So we'll see you see Glenn on Wednesday top-up show for Kenzo, and obviously Gord will be around tomorrow evening with the form preview for that same meeting. Catch you then.
Bye.
See you guys.